In the front right here.
What's up, dude?
How are you?
I'm good, man. No complaints.
Well, I'm sure you've heard. People seem to be more interested in your fight than either you or Shavkat's original fights. So I guess, how's life been since they announced this? Because obviously when Belal got hurt, Shavkat wanted to stay on. It seems like they were asking everyone, and then they settled it on you. You've described your rise as perfect in the UFC. So I guess, could you have drawn this up any more perfect outside of possibly fighting for an undisputed title?
I told you guys I had a plan. I told you it was a 6-fight plan, and on my 6th fight, I'll win the world title. When I fight Shavkat, that'll be number 5. So it's been perfect. I think the only way this would have been nicer is if I would have taken out someone like a Colby or an Usman, proved that wrestling defense, beat one of those guys who've been in the division for so long, and then take out Shavkat for the title. That's the only way I would have drawn up better in my mind, but God has gifted me a golden opportunity to go out here on Saturday night, cement myself as the #1 contender, and I'm going to take it by the balls and I'm going to have some fun.
There's also a lot of fans that seem to think, like, outside of undisputed or undefeated versus undefeated, there's every question they have of him in there, you could present, like, the answer to, and vice versa. Like, they will get answers from both of you, regardless of who wins. So do you view that similarly? Like, all of these, like, you've never faced a guy that'll get in your face and try to wrestle you. Shavkat can do that. Shavkat's not faced a long, rangy guy that can also grapple with him. You can do that. Do you kind of view that? Do you understand where they're coming from?
Yes, the MMA fan base has questions about how legit Shavkat is. Not that he hasn't proved or done anything that hasn't been phenomenal so far in his career. 18 up, 18 down is pretty spectacular. But moments of very sloppy performance. I mean, Jeff Neal was arguably winning the fight, cracked him a lot, hurt him, and was very lucky to come away with a finish in that fight. And then just his opponents haven't been as high a level in totality as mine, I believe. Obviously, we share 2. And then just, again, like you say, pressure, constant pressure. Can I deal with the pressure? Can I stop the wrestling? Can I beat him on the feet? Can I do these things? The answer is yes. But I've got to go out and show the world Saturday night.
We've heard from fans, when they get matched up with people from that part of the world, like when people fight Shavkat or Islam or Hamzat, their DMs and their comments just get flooded with flag emojis, and they get flooded with messages from that part of the world. Has that been the case with you?
All I have seen from this fight is that the entire world knows that I'm a gamer. They have all given me nothing but respect, because I didn't have to take this fight. We all know that. I had a fight lined up next week. I seen this opportunity against the baddest man in the division. I went, you know what? Let me do that. Why? The risk versus reward is better than anything. The risk in any fight, you go out, you lose. The reward, you move up the rankings. You move up the ladder. In this case, I get a shot at the title. I cement myself as the #1 contender. I remain undefeated. I take out what many consider to be the boogeyman. I do it in beautiful fashion, and then I go wipe the floor with Belal next year. That's it. It's perfect, man.
You've used that phrase, people think he's the boogeyman, I don't. So I guess, what are you seeing that other people don't see?
I respect everything he's done. I respect his 18-0, and it's phenomenal. But I just don't see it being as crazy as everyone makes it out to be. I mean, when you want to say it, like, he's 6-0 in the UFC, I'm 8-0 in the UFC. I have more knockouts in the UFC. I have more wins in the UFC. I have more wins over ranked opponents in the UFC. And you can absolutely make the case that the 8 people I've fought are better than the 6 people he's fought. But I don't get the credit that he gets. And that's okay. I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm going to earn it on Saturday night when I beat him.
Just last one for me, kind of going off of that. Like, you guys, your rises have been parallel, but just different in the eyes of fans. Like, the first fight Shavkat had on Fight Island many years ago, people were like, future champion. They labeled him right out of the gate, and it seems like fighters maybe have been avoiding fighting him on his rise, and it's been the opposite with you. People have wanted to fight you because they view you.
Whoa.
Until recently,
okay, good.
Until recently, that was going to be my next sentence.
Let's make that clear.
Until recently, like, there's been guys that have called you out because they think they can pick you off while you're on the rise and still popular. Have you noticed that, like, while you're rising next to Shavkat, the reception to his by the fans have just been so different to yours?
That's okay. That's people's opinion. I'm not worried about people's opinion, but all I can do is go out there and do what I've been doing, which is have a completely perfect record, 15-0, 15 wins. I've done it. I've had fun. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. I've traveled the world. I've had the time of my life. I'm living the dream, and the dream gets to take one massive leap on Saturday night when I get my hand raised. So for me, on another point, like, everyone was at one point calling me out, but no one was willing to back it up. That's the biggest thing. All these people talk to stay relevant, to, keep some relevancy in the division or maintain their spot, but people are far too selective in this sport, and I think something needs to be changed about it. It should be, you fight this guy, you don't fight at all, because it's ridiculous to have these people talk the talk but actually not back it up. This weekend is proof that I said I would do it, and I'm backing it up, and Shavkat's the same. So the real fans, the fans are the winner this weekend. They get to see us go head to head, and they're going to see the highest level of mixed martial arts in the welterweight division that we've arguably ever seen.
Ian, another thing that fans like to discuss, and I think it makes fights more fun, even if there's not a lot behind it, is when you hear guys have sparred each other in the past, right? I know it's sparring, fighting's fighting, but obviously we've heard Shavkat's perspective of your spars before. I'm curious if you could let us in on what you felt you took away from those. He's
phenomenally talented. He's an amazing fighter, but I think he and I will both tell you that we've never fought hard in the gym. We've not fought. We've always been learning and growing and practicing, and fighting is completely different. And what happens in the gym is cool, fair play. If you have any success in the gym, great. I've had success, he's had success. We have to do that on the bright lights and the big stage. That's what it's all about. He's only succeeded. I've only succeeded. So now let's put the both of us on those bright lights, on that big stage, co-main event, all the marbles on the line, and let's go have some fun and see what happens.
So it would be fair to say, right, he told Ariel that he made you tap in sparring. It would be fair to say that if he's taking anything away from that experience, he would be mistaken to do so.
If he wants to latch on to a moment of success in training from 2 years ago and thinks I'm the same fighter I was then he would be sadly mistaken. I don't believe he is going to be latching on to anything like that. I believe he is being honest, and he's saying this happened, which it did. I'm not turning around and say it didn't, but if I sit here and tell you the names I've gone out and beaten sparring, it's just not relevant. It would be a very different conversation. So he has to do it on Saturday night, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show him that I'm far better than he could ever imagine.
Talk to me about your immediate reaction when, the Colby fight's been presented to you a few times, and then it never happens. The Shavkat fight happens, and then suddenly he's fighting Buckley.
He just magically fucking reappeared out of thin air. Just came out of nowhere, didn't he? Oh, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. It just shows he's a coward. It proves that he never, ever, ever wanted to fight me in the first place. He's the perfect example of someone who is trying to stay relevant by talking about me, Shavkat. He even mentioned Charles at one point because he was getting all the media attention. He talks out of his arse, and he's not willing to back it up. He would never, ever, ever in a million years step into the octagon with me and face his fears, because I am the man he fears the most.
Ian, right over here.
What's up, sir?
Yeah, it's good to see you again. Ian, I've noticed you've always been very vocal on social media when it comes to calling for fights, but more recently you've done a little bit more content creation, reviewing fights and everything else. How have you liked expanding into that realm a lot more?
I'm a very good businessman, and I've got a gift of the gab. I've got that from the Irish, so it's just good to go out there. I have a very different brain when it comes to fight analysis and the way I approach fights and the way I watch them and the way I view them. I just think it's a cool thing to be able to show the world the real me and how I talk and how I act and my family and my travels. I think it's super insightful for the fans who support me to see this. So I really enjoy it.
You've obviously been training with Shootbox for a minute now, but what difference is it going to be to have a mind like Charles Oliveira in the corner on Saturday?
Energy is everything in this world, and that man has the biggest energy in the world, and just having him and his cuddles and the way he speaks to you, he's so sinistro, just sinister in the way he speaks to you, and you feel that energy, you take that and you go with it, and it's amazing. So it's an honor and a privilege to call him a friend and a teammate.
I asked this more or less for the reaction since he's right there. Has he told you you're blonde enough, or will you need to dye your hair?
So the thing is, what happened was, o Charles troca no cabelo para você entende. Eu tenho luta semana que vem para você. He changed his hair color because he knew that he was going to be in my corner for the fight after him. So that's the only reason he did it blonde, yeah. Because he wanted the striking of the Irish.
Thank you.
And he looked good. My man Charles looked good last week. Do you see that striking? Charles, chamo você, mano. Chamo junto.
Ian, to your left over here. Obviously, you mentioned the fights that you and Shavkat both have fought. When we think of that, we think of the Jeff Neals, Neil Magny's. Why do you think people choose not to just see that both of you guys have beat the same guys? Do you think it's the finishes that he did, or do you?
I love you, Leo. Sorry, my little boy's getting upset because he can't come up here with me. Let's put it this way. I think you'll all agree with this. I'm not the most loved fighter in the world. Now, when you have that opinion, it changes the way you look at fights, right? Hence why I don't give it any weight. When you watch me versus Jeff Neal, you watch Shavkat versus Jeff Neal, who did it better? Sure, he got a finish, but who had a cleaner performance? Me, right? When you watch Magny, a 30-24, dude, that was domination. So I do them clean. I know what I'm doing. I'm very, very talented, and I don't care what the world thinks of me, if they want to think negatively or they want to think positively. I'm doing me. As I said, I was a kid from Dublin, Ireland, who had a dream. Sat there and said, I want to be one of the best fighters the world's ever seen. I'm one fight away from cementing myself an opportunity to win a world title. I don't care what people think about me. I'm having the time of my life, and I'm enjoying every second of it with the people I love and the people I've traveled the world with. That's all that matters to me.
Sure. No, regardless of hate or love, we're seeing the 170-pound division just get a lot of recognition right now. We got guys like you, Shavkat, Buckley, Protest, to name a few. What do you make of this current state, and do you think it has what it takes to just kind of take over and become one of the premier division?
The young are going to start to feed off the old. We're going to start to see the guys that have been in the division and dominated the division for so long slowly fade away. It's happening, slowly but surely. And you will see a complete shift in this division in the next 18 months. Like you said, you've got some amazing guys coming up, all young, all hungry, all trying to prove how good they are. And it's going to be exciting when I'm sat there with the belt wrapped around my mouth going, you next, then you, then you, then you. And I'm going to do what GSP, I'm going to do what John Jones have done, I'm going to do what Israel Adesanya have done. I'm going to dominate the division for a long, long time, and it's going to be amazing.
Sure. Last one for me. I just saw your son walk by. Obviously, he's a big fight fan. I see him training with you, doing Max Holloway impressions. I mean, he's still too young, but what do you think he's going to plan on doing? You think he's going to go down the fight game like you did, or?
Whatever that kid wants to do in life, whatever he wants to do, I will be there to help him. If he wants to be a footballer, a golfer, a fighter, I will give him all the support in the world because his happiness matters most.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, dude.
Hello, sir. January 25 in Abu Dhabi, there will be a fight between Usman Nurmagomedov versus Irishman.
Paul Hughes, yes, sir.
Is it possible to see in Paul's corner? It could be a better.
If Paul wants me in his corner, I will return the favor. When I fought for my Cage Warriors world title, Paul was in my corner for me. I had no one. He stepped in. He was a great friend of mine. If he wants me in his corner, I will find a way to be there, and I will give him the support he needs.
Okay, so next question is, Conor McGregor is suing his friend Artem Lobov. What do you think about this situation?
I have no information or knowledge in that situation whatsoever.
Okay. Last question is, who has a better ambition, Charles Oliveira or Shavkat?
Mano, calma, caraca. Ele tem o melhor finalizar no UFC. He's the most finishes in the UFC. Who do you think has? O Charles do Bronx, ele é iluminado, mas ele é diferente. He's different. He's built different. There's a reason he's one of the most loved fans in the world. He goes in there, he finishes people, and he does it in beautiful fashion. He's the most entertaining fighter in UFC history, in my opinion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the show.